So, hi everybody. Is anybody here? I hope you are. Okay. I see that we got Audrey in the house. She's a very important character today. Gonna be with us in the purple room. Why is the camera filming me less than it should be? Audrey, you should move in. There you go. All right, guys. So we're gonna talk Twin Peaks. Twin Peaks. The Return, 2017 Twin Peaks. Episode 16. No knock, no doorbell. And Ryan says 100%. Yes, we're gonna get to that. So let me first say before I begin, I have a couple of thoughts about last season, just to like end it all. First of all, hi everybody. Nick says hi. Gary says I called it ages ago. Well, yep, it is what it is, guys. Anyway, thank you so much for joining in. Lanier, hey, how you doing, sweetie? Lanier says hi from Washington State. Gabriella says hello. Gary says hi. Melinda says you are early. I know, I just posted it on Twitter, guys. I'm early today. I'm lucky because I can't say why, but I'm early today. What did I want to say, guys? First of all, I'm so happy to see all of you here. Nick said I picked this over Disneyland. Good, that's the way to go. Twin Peaks over Disney. Okay. So listen, guys. I had this kind of supposition. Maybe it's totally crazy. Could Lucy be Judy? Just saying this because Andy, when he was in the mauve or purple room or world, you know, the visions he had when he was looking up, the last vision he saw was him kind of, one of the last, I think, was him kind of pushing Lucy or like kind of accompanying Lucy or kind of helping her through. And I wonder if Lucy is Judy. I mean, think of it. It's like Lucy, Judy, I don't know, I'm totally going crazy here. Yeah, and then Sarah Palmer connected to the door opening, opening for Evil Coop. A lot of people have seen Sarah Palmer's face in The Jumping Man in episode 15. I also at this point think that Sarah Palmer's kind of face was imposed on top of the jumping guy. Some people have speculated that Laura Palmer is Cooper's mother. Anyway, the title says we have spoilers going on here, guys. So you're warned. I mean, you know, title already said it. Now I'm repeating it again. So what do you think? Also, you know, like Laura Palmer is his mother from another time warp or time glitch. But all of these thoughts are thoughts that I had before episode 16 began. And I have to say, after episode 16 began, wait. Manny says, what? Always in the barber shop. Twin Peaks ain't about this. Dacob ain't about that. My boy, a BD, and them, he says, wow, I don't understand a word you're saying, Manny, but hi, welcome to the chat. Listen, so now that actually all of these episodes are over, right? We're finished with episode 16. I think all of this like going crazy for trying to understand what is going on, the secrets behind certain decisions. We've been speculating crazy stuff all this time. Even crazier, I think, at the end of the day, than Mark Frost and David Lynch could have ever speculated or thought out. Because I'm saying this because I've noticed in episode 16, I'm a little bit disappointed. I mean, I loved it, but as far as storytelling is concerned, as far as, you know, plot lines unfolding and unraveling, it's become it's a very simplistic way of solving problems. Nick said bad CGI with Diane, but I don't care. I think that CGI was done bad on purpose. I love the fact that it was so cheaply done. It's like an art installation. You could take every screenshot of Diane's disappearance and kind of, you know, they work as photographs. And I think that's how Lynch envisioned them. Rather, they work better as photographs than as stills as they would as kind of a flowing action. You know what I mean? Yeah, Nick says on purpose. But anyway, guys, and I think like the plot lines are unfolding they're very simple. You know, we're getting answers like all of the, Melinda says, yeah, I know what you mean, Dacob, simple. Yeah, like, you know, also with Hutch and Chantal, we were expecting, who knows what sort of, hey, Debbie, how you doing, sweetie? we were expecting who knows what, you know, what sort of finale, you know, what was going to happen to Hutch and Chantal, but it just ended really like, bleh, you know, like even with Richard, we were expecting the giant saying, you know, two birds with one stone. And I'm like, well, Evil Coop just got rid of his son. Oh, there's so much happening, but it all just like, bam, solved like that. And I'm like, okay, really, we could have been spared 16 episodes if you're just going to eliminate people like that, you know? Nick says Hutch and his wounds was like from The Godfather. Gabriela says, yes, was too fast with Hutch and Chantal. But anyway, let me get like through, for the people who are going to watch this video in the future and might want to see, let's just like do a quick run through of the episode. So, episode 16 or part 16, title No Knock, No Doorbell, the double R logo, baby blue, beige, green inside of the circle. There's like a baby, all of these colors kind of appearing. I think the blue skies and the baby blue skies is kind of a resolution beginning. We're seeing the skies clear up. Evil Coop is on a dark road. In a car, Lost Highway style, with Richard driving the car. You know, Evil Coop says 3 people gave him coordinates to match. Now, they drive off the street, they arrive to this dirt road. We're at, I guess, at the roots of, kind of the beginning of the mountains or the forest of Twin Peaks, because Jerry Horn appears from out of the mountains, out of the forest, and he sees them, and Jerry's still totally high, and he kind of, I love how his binoculars turn backwards, and he's just so shocked that he can't get it right. Nick says actually Blue Velvet style. So Cooper says to Richard, and now here, because I watched this episode only once, I really didn't have the time to sink into analyzing which are the 3 people that gave him coordinates. Maybe you guys know. He said 3 people give me coordinates. 2 of the coordinates are the same. The 3rd person gave me coordinates that are not the same. What would you do, Richard? And Richard would say, well, I would follow the coordinates of the 2 people, you know. So the 2 people that gave him coordinates, who are they? One was Ray, one was Diane, and maybe Ruth Davenport. But I don't know at this point. Anyway, so turns out that the coordinates from the 2 people that he had been given were fake. They were meant to be given to him so that he would go to that spot and be electrocuted and disappear or die, you know. But anyway, he literally sets up his own son and uses him as a guinea pig. Of course, before he kind of sets him to go up to the rock, he says, you are 25 years younger than me, blah, blah, blah. I mean, we know, we get it. This is Darth Vader moment of him revealing himself to his son, except it won't happen. I mean, it won't happen the way it happened in Star Wars. He's not going to say, hi. He's not going to say, I'm your father. But he's going to say, what did he say after Richard is elected? Goodbye, my son. And again, this is a very simplistic way of solving this plot line. I mean, we have been given hints. We've all figured it out on our own. We figured out that Evil Coop, you know, 90 to 99%, we were kind of sure it was his father, especially after episode 15, after, you know, he's asking Richard, who's your mother? And Richard says, Audrey. I'm like, but Evil Coop should know that that's his son. What gives? But he knew. In fact, he says, bye-bye, son. So I thought that was kind of, well, plus, he doesn't say just goodbye, son. He ironically says, he's like, oh, goodbye, son. See ya. I don't know. Maybe he's not so emotional about it because he thinks he might see his son once he dies as well in the Black Lodge or something like that. They're going to meet again, probably. I kind of think Richard's path isn't over yet in Twin Peaks. We're going to see him again. So the 2 people, right, where are we? Okay. He sends a text message, smiley and all. Killer Game says, can I get a happy birthday shout out? Happy birthday. So he tries to send a text message, but it says delivery failed. At a certain point, the delivery does occur. We will see Diane receiving the text message. It's like a smiley and all. I guess by the smiley, he intended her to kill everybody. So, but before that happens, we're at Hutch and Chantal in Las Vegas. Hutch and Chantal arrive at to Las Vegas, to Dougie's house. The same time the FBI arrives, Hutch and Chantal dressed in white uniforms. Who knows what they were planning, how they were planning to kill Dougie and Janie. FBI leaves after nobody opens the door. Now we're in the hospital. Cooper is on life support in a coma, so we think. Janie E and Sonny Jim next to him. Sonny Jim asks, does a coma have anything to do with electricity? And again, I'm like, okay, they're having a kid ask this question, but it's a child kind of, it's as if David and Mark would have been putting that in our mouths. But like, dude, we've been asking, we haven't. I think again, it's a little bit too simplistic. It's not like we have been those stupid viewers and watchers that have been asking themselves, does the electricity have to do with the coma? I felt that was a dumb moment, and it didn't play well in anybody's favor. It didn't play well in the favor of innocence of a child. It didn't play well in the favor of us viewers who might think that it's kind of referring to us. It didn't play well in the whole plot line. I don't know. Bushnell then says, yes, it does this time. And I'm again, wow, this explanation, really? You've been giving us secretive codes and like messages throughout the whole series and season, and now you're playing stuff out on a silver platter. I felt a little bit disappointed about that, to be honest with you. The Mitchum brothers arrive. The thumb bots arrive with finger sandwiches, still dressed in their showgirl outfits. They haven't changed those outfits in days. I hope that they have extras. I mean, not as the costumes, but I think in real life, if they would be wearing the same outfit all the time. When do these girls shower? There's a stupid remark from Belushi. You know, when he's discussing the coma, so he's like, it was like electricity that caused this coma. Whatever. Then we are in FBI, in Gordon Cole's kind of hotel room that they set up to have as an office with all their computer gadgets. Gordon is in silence in between all of his machines. Then we have the fade over to all the machines in Dougie's hospital room. Janie takes Sonny to the bathroom. Bushnell, alone in the room with Dougie, receives a phone call from the office. Says FBI was looking for Dougie and they are headed to the hospital. But Cooper is in a coma, so he won't be able to say anything, or so we think. But I think, again, here we have a plot line error, or was it done on purpose? If the FBI went or called the Lucky 7 insurance company, and then they told the FBI that Dougie was in a hospital, why would the FBI be heading again to Dougie's house? Which happens pretty soon after that, and then we're going to see the whole shotgun situation going down with Hud Chantal later on. So that's kind of weird that the FBI knows that he's in a coma in the hospital, and yet instead of running off to the hospital immediately, they prefer to go back to his home. That's something that I didn't really understand. Hutch and Chantal are still outside of Dougie's house. FBI car arrives as well, again, and also parks outside waiting for Dougie. And that's when I asked myself while watching the episode, why? Chantal keeps eating her Cheetos or whatever she's eating. The Mitchum brothers arrive as well in a white limo. So something happened. I was offline for a second. Now I seem to be online again. I don't know what we missed, guys. I was reading. I have to look up more often. But are we back? Can you hear me? Do I have any? I still see the comments. So somebody write something to let me know that that we're still online. Okay, stop it. I'm back. But Melinda, where did it stop? Anyway, we're in the hospital. I said that the FBI should know. The FBI should know that he's in the hospital because at yes, we can hear this episode was best yet. Yes, food. Oh, finger food. Oh my God, we missed so much. All right. So what I wanted to say is, in my opinion, the FBI, so since they went to the Lucky 7 insurance company, they know that Dougie is in the hospital. So why would they, instead of running off to the hospital, why would they prefer to go back to his house again if they know that he's in the hospital? But anyway. So Chantal keeps eating her Cheetos. The Mitchum brothers arrive as well in a white limousine to deliver food to Dougie's house. I thought the FBI knew Dougie was in the hospital. Anyway, Zawoski arrives and tells Chantal that they're in his driveway. Chantal, shoots him. He kicks their car. There's this whole, whatever, shooting situation. He ends up killing both of them. But the FBI is just looking at them and doesn't react. The FBI does not step in at all in the situation until it's all done. Isn't that awkward that the FBI did not do one? They did not lift a finger while the whole shooting was going down. Only once the van with Chantal and Hutch was done for did the FBI react and kind of point their guns at Zawoski. Anyway, Cooper room in the hospital, humming noise like in the Great Northern. And I wonder, does this humming noise have to do with spirits that are working for or in Dougie's Coop's favor? But this humming has to do with some sort of awakening. So what sort of awakening is going to happen in the Great Northern? Because this humming was connected, or we think, or we were led to believe, the humming in the hospital room was connected. Bushnell also hears it, to the awakening of Cooper. The one-armed man, so Bushnell leaves following the hum. Or is the humming there to kind of take people's attention off of what is really important? Because Bushnell was led out of the room so that the one-armed man could communicate without interruptions with Cooper. So maybe the humming is meant by the lodges to distract from the actual important thing that is happening in that moment. Now that's something to think about. Bushnell hears it, follows it. Then the one-armed man appears, and Cooper finally awakens. One-armed man warns Cooper that evil Coop is still out there and gives him the Owl Cave ring. Obviously gives it to him because he wants the good Cooper to put it on evil Cooper's hand. Hi T, how you doing, sweetie? So the one-armed man warns Cooper, right? Okay, Cooper asks, do you have the seed? Now we know that the golden ball is called the seed. The one-armed man shows him the golden ball from Dougie. Cooper said he asks him to make another seed and, plucks a couple of hairs out of his head and with his DNA, obviously, and kind of gives them through this portal of vision, I don't know what, to the one-armed man. So now we figure out that there is a possibility, not just psychologically to communicate through the realms of the real world and the lodges, but you could actually also hand them down physical objects, because Cooper handed his hair to the one-armed man. But I'm thinking to myself, if Cooper handed him a piece of himself, the hair, and handed it to the one-armed man, so if there's this sort of physical interaction, then anybody could just, the one-armed man could just deliver another physical object to Cooper and just hand it out from the Black Lodge into the real world. So how did that work? Why is it possible for good Cooper, for just Cooper, to give his hair to the one-armed man from the real world to the Black Lodge, but other exchange of bodies isn't possible? Weird moment there as well. Anyway, Cooper and one-armed man are working together. Cooper can give the one-armed man objects. Yeah, we talked about that, Dacob. Thank you very much. So Cooper asked him to make another double himself, like another type of Dougie or something. Or we don't know who. Well, he gave him his own hair, so we presume the one-armed man is going to create another Cooper. Cooper is now in full control, asks to speak to the Mitchum brothers. Cooper calls Janie and Sonny, his family. And finally, Twin Peaks theme kicks in. The old theme kicks in, or at least it sounds familiar. It's a little bit more speeded up than the intro, new theme, which kind of makes us believe, okay, we've had this slowed down version of everything because everything until now has been slowed down because Cooper wasn't Cooper. We were returning to Twin Peaks. Finally, as Cooper awakens and starts talking, the old school, or as old school as I think we're going to get in this season, Twin Peaks theme kicks in, and it felt so liberating and amazing, but also super sad because it took us 16 episodes and we're at the end of the season, really, expecting the awakening of Cooper. Cooper tells Bushnell, I am the FBI. And he leaves. They leave the hospital as the FBI arrives, but Cooper is on his way to the Mustang Casino, the Silver Mustang Casino. At this point, we jump over to Diane. Diane receives a text message from Evil Coop with a smiley and all. She gets scared, upset, and looks into her bag. At that moment, I thought there's going to be a gun in that bag. And of course, they do show us a gun later on in that bag. And again, this was one of those moments that we didn't really get to see a lot in the past episodes. And by this I mean they're handing out all of these very easily, or they deliver to us everything on a silver platter in this episode. There's no more mystery. I felt like this episode was so clear, so one-to-one, so mathematical. I was almost disappointed. Even Diane, notice if you rewatch the sequence, she's going to look into her bag. She's going to open it in a way you're going to know there's a gun in there. But we don't see the gun yet. And then a couple of sequences later, the camera will indeed show a gun inside that bag. That was another one of those moments where you think, why? Why so easy? So she gets scared, upset, and looks into her bag. She answers the text message by sending the coordinates and says to herself, I hope this works. She has a gun in her purse. Now, as she walks towards Gordon Cole's room, the Bob music starts. And here, who called it out from the second she appeared in part 5 or 6? From the back with her bob haircut? Did Dacob not say from moment one, fashion is relevant? Fashion history is relevant in Twin Peaks. David Lynch knows fashion. He has been doing, when he needed the money. Nevertheless, he put a lot of effort into doing advertisements for Christian Dior, for Yves Saint Laurent. We have perfume advertisements. We have leather bag advertisements. He knows his fashion. whether you want to accept it or not. And I called it out on her bob haircut from Vidal Sassoon. Check it out. Google it. Vidal Sassoon invented the bob haircut. Why give Diane a bob haircut if not to tell us from day one that she is related to Bob in a way? She has been manufactured, and we found it out in this episode. I drops the mic and I rest my case. So she walks towards Gordon's room. We hear the Bob music. Gordon in his office hotel room. He feels something will happen. He knows Diane is there before she even knocks on the door. So I notice, and he says, "Come in, Diane." Diane comes in. She wants to tell them what Cooper told her the night he came to visit her. Here again, we are delivered what we expected. And again, I'm thinking to myself, wait a minute, why? Why? You know, why would they deliver this to us? We were led to believe that she was raped, and indeed she does tell us. Now I'm going to run through this. I wrote down everything. I don't know why I did it. Look at this. I'm like totally crazy, but I wrote down everything. Anyway, let's do it. So he said 3 or 4 years after she stopped working for him, for Cooper, she is Diane. He just walked in, standing in her living room. She was so happy to see him. She held him so close. They sat on her sofa, started talking where he'd been and what he'd been doing. He wanted to know what was going on in the FBI. She felt he was grilling her. Then he leaned in and he kissed her. It only happened once before that he kissed her, so she acknowledges that, when he was good, Coop. As soon as his lips touched hers, something went wrong, and she felt afraid, and he saw her fear in her, and he smiled, and his face turned into probably the Bob kind of type of grimace we're used to seeing from Bob. And that's when he raped her. Afterward, he took her somewhere like an old gas station, and I guess he took her to the convenience store, or above the convenience store, by the sheriff's station. She sent him the coordinates to the sheriff's station, and then she says, "'Cause I'm not me, I'm not me." Now, why would a tulpa, a created Diane, why would she have the memory of the good Diane? This is something I don't understand. Why would she still remember how awful it felt to get raped by him, and yet she is fabricated after the real Diane was actually raped? They went above the convenience store. I'm asking myself, the woman that opened the door, that gave the key to Evil Cooper to access the room where Jeffries was that the Diane? Was that the real Diane? But she was talking backwards. Alpha says, Doppelcoop has old Coop memories. No, yes, Alpha, you're totally right about that, but be careful. We're not talking about a doppelganger here. We're talking about a person that's constructed, as Dougie was. Remember, Dougie disappears. He vanishes into thin air, and we have the seed that remains of him back in episode 4, or part 4, or part 3. That was not a doppelganger. Evil Coop is a doppelganger of the good Coop, but then there's a third Cooper who's not a doppelganger. The third Cooper was a constructed entity altogether, which is what we are led to believe is Diane as well. Unless Diane is not a doppelganger. If Diane is a doppelganger, then she could have the memories of the good Diane. But why would the doppelganger Diane go through the emotions of the good Diane? Why would she have a sort of sense of remorse? Because the doppelganger, they don't guts the remorse. They're just evil Knievel, you know. Ryan says Diane in the sheriff's station. What do you mean? You mean Diane is in the sheriff's station? You mean Diane is Naido? No, the good Cooper would have recognized her when he was in the purple room, if that's what you're implying. Tammy says, wow, that was a real tulpa. Now, I do know that by saying, wow, that was a real tulpa, she is implying that Diane that we saw in the room that day was a doppelganger, because Albert told Tammy the story of the doppelganger situation of the Blue Rose case. But then again, maybe even that was a tulpa, not a doppelganger from the 70s, the Blue Rose case. Albert shoots tulpa Diane. Sorry, guys. I'm out of breath. And she disappears and appears in the red room. The one-armed man tells her, someone manufactured you. She says she knows, and she, you know, tells him to F off. This shows that she disappears, and the one-armed man gets another golden seed. Dougie's at the Silver Mustang Casino. He tells Janie E. and Sonny Jim, I have to go away for a while, but I have to tell ya, how much I have enjoyed spending time with you. We're a family, and I will be back. And this is something that we expected. Another thing has been delivered to us that we totally expected was going to happen. And that's something we all called out on. I did too. We all said it. You know, Cooper he's a conservative person, very patriotic, and he is on top of it all, you know, very committed to all of this family situation. So he's not going to just let them be. He confirms to us that Sonny Jim is his son, because Sonny Jim is like, "Are you my dad? Are you my dad? Are you not my dad?" And he says, "I am your father." Janie E's skeptic. She's like, "You're not Dougie, aren't you?" And he kind of makes her understand that he's not, and yet he is, because the manufactured Dougie had the DNA of the good Cooper. We know that now because the good Cooper took his hair, gave it to the one-armed man to create another manufactured Cooper. So indeed, we have the 100% certainty that Sonny Jim is indeed the DNA of Cooper. He is his child. And Cooper, for the love of the child, will stay with Janie E, obviously. And he says he will return. So he says, "I am your dad. I'll be back soon. I will walk through that red door and I'll be home for good." We hear the Laura Golden Ball from episode 8 or part 8 music kick in. Janie says, "Don't go." Cooper says, "I have to go." She says, "Whoever you are, thank you." Cooper leaves with the Mitchum brothers. Cooper is in the limo with the Mitchum brothers, driving to the plane, tells them all the truth about him, that he's an FBI agent. He has to go to Twin Peaks, to the sheriff's station. You know, the Mitchum brothers are scared. They're like, you know, people at those type of places don't really like us. But he says, "But I know you guys, and you have hearts of gold." Again, gold, gold, gold running throughout the whole episode. Cooper says to the Mitchum brothers, they have hearts of gold. Candy says about the hearts of gold of the Mitchum brothers, they do. They really do. And she smiles. And again, we have this reference to the Wizard of Oz. You know, it's like the Tin Man has received his, or always knew, well, never knew, but figures out he always had whatever, the love, the emotions, the intelligence, or whatever he was lacking. Now we're at the Roadhouse. Eddie Vedder sings Out of Sand. Music begins. And one of the texts, and again, we have these songs that really tell us what is it all about? Like, what was the episode about? The songs, the lyrics of the songs always explain to us the emotional roller coaster that we have just been going through that entire hour. One of the lyrics say, "I am, who I was, I will never be again. I will not be running out to sin anymore." Basically, more or less, that's the gist. Audrey arrives to the Roadhouse. And this was the only moment, the only awe moment I had tonight, because it was the only moment when and that's why we have Audrey here, because I'm putting her here because she is the only moment of this episode where, at least for one fraction of a second, I had the impression that Lynch played us. Because I thought to myself, okay, well, Audrey is not in a coma. Audrey is not dead. Audrey is not in purgatory. She's not in a place between life and death. She's really in the Roadhouse. But then, you know, and that was a funny twist. Eddie Vedder, or I hope I'm pronouncing the name right, stops singing. And Charlie orders 2 martinis. Audrey's looking for Billy. Music stops. Audrey sits down with Charlie. Charlie says, "Here's to us, Audrey." Audrey says, "Here's to Billy." The announcer says, "Ladies and gentlemen, Audrey's dance." And at that moment, I'm like, okay, this was a dream. They played me for that fraction of a second from the moment she entered the Roadhouse till the second that the announcer announced Audrey's dance. And the second he announced Audrey's dance, the floor clears up and we have the beautiful Angelo Badalamenti Audrey's dance music kick in. At that moment, I'm like, okay. So I guess the mystery is also solved. They have delivered that to us as well on a silver platter after a couple of seconds of keeping us still tense. And they show us that it is a dream sequence. She is lost in her weird space, or I don't know what. The room clears up. She starts to dance, to her dance. Then a guy throws a bottle at another guy. She gets scared. She yells at Charlie, you know, "Get me out of here." And all of a sudden we have a cut to her in a white clinical room looking at herself in the mirror, super scared. And then all of a sudden we're, you know, she's either in a hospital or she's in this, maybe she's in the White Lodge, maybe she's between life and death in the coma, maybe she's already dead and she is in purgatory. She hasn't accessed heaven yet, but I don't know. Well, I guess we're going to figure that one out too in the next episode. The music in the Roadhouse starts playing Audrey's dance backwards, or I think what is really fascinating about that song, if indeed they were doing it the way that Lynch would film actors talking backwards and then playing that backwards in order for it to sound right. It seems as if they played the notes backwards, recorded it backwards, and then played it to us in reverse. So indeed, we hear Audrey's dance, but we hear it as if we would hear it in the Black Lodge. So that was something fascinating to see in the end. That little extra added way of playing that music. Is that a hint to us that Audrey is in fact in the black room, or in the black room, in the purple, in the red room of the Black Lodge? We don't know. Why would she be there? Who could have brought her there? Maybe Evil Cooper, after raping her, took her to the Black Lodge. But that would make no sense because she had to give birth to Richard. The whole world knows that Richard is her son. Benjamin Horne knows that Richard is her son. So I don't think that Audrey gave birth to Richard in the Black Lodge. I think Audrey really gave birth to him in the hospital, and I think she's still in a coma in that hospital. I see no other way, unless she didn't die while giving birth to Richard. And before really dying completely, she got stuck in some realm in between. And that's the end of the episode, guys. So let's get to the chat. Okay, what did I miss? I'm going to read a couple of commentos. Melinda says, how always symbolic, Dacob. Christopher Arrieta. He needs to be hired by a fashion house. Can you imagine all the creative inspiration that he could do? David Lynch? Oh my God, that would be amazing if David Lynch would be the artistic director of a big fashion house. David says, with all these theories, it seems that the ending might not be so surprising. Bingo! That's what I was heading towards. I have the feeling the ending, in fact, will not be that surprising. It's all very linear. It's all very mathematically structured. They're gonna give us some loose ends. They're gonna plant some sort of cliffhanger in there just for the sake of, ending it in the traditional Twin Peaks way, which, whether we like it or not, the 25 years that we were waiting for season 3, season 2 did end in an epic cliffhanger way. And I think Twin Peaks season 3 has to end also with an epic cliffhanger. It can't just end. It just wouldn't be Twin Peaks. Melinda says, backwards Audrey song reminded me of Inside Sycamore. Oh, yes. True. I'm playing the music, but I didn't record the music backwards. I recorded it actually regular, and then I played it backwards in some places, and in some other places it's played regular. But anyway. Debbie says, I thought she woke up at that moment. No, I don't think she woke up in that moment, Debbie, and I'll tell you why I don't think she woke up. And she saw how old she was. I don't think she woke up because it seemed as if she were standing in that scene already. It's not like she was in a bed and she woke up and you see her wake up. No, she was standing in front of a bathroom mirror. It was like a round mirror and she was standing at that mirror. So she had to, if she woke up, then she first woke up, had all the strength to stand up and walk to a mirror. If you've been in a coma for 25 years, your muscles are atrophy. You can't walk. You got to rebuild everything if you're going to start walking. So I don't know what's going down there. I think mentally, maybe it was a symbolic gesture to depict her mental awakening. So inside of herself, she was inside of her head, she was like, I'm Audrey. Again, Horne, it's me, I'm awake. And now she's going to open her eyes for real. And then she's going to slowly, stand up and stuff like that. Nick said, there was electricity noises the last shot of Audrey in the all-white space. Debbie says, true. Nick says, her hair was longer too. Yeah, so definitely, of course it's a different Audrey. Of course she's been dreaming her old self in some weird way, and now we're going to have her back to what... I don't know if she's going to wake up or not. You never know. Maybe she's just going to leave. Maybe she's just going to die and go to heaven. We don't know. Or maybe she's really going to wake up and the good Cooper is going to arrive to Twin Peaks and the first thing he does is going to go to the hospital to check up on her. The stream is slowing down. Her hair was longer too. Good points, Nick and Dacob, says Melinda. Forever Fragrant Kid says the same electrical buzzing sound happened when Richard Horne got electrocuted, when Audrey was looking in the mirror. Ooh. T, maybe you got a point there. Maybe when Richard... Oh my God, that is so... Yeah, you got it, T. Genius. When Richard Horne, of course, he's the blood of her blood. He's her kid. When Richard got electrocuted and disappeared, That's when Audrey woke up. Her son had died or had passed somewhere, and for him passing to another place or space or whatever gave her her essence back. You go, girl, Melinda said. T, you go, girl. Alpha Dog says, Evil Coop lovin' tends to do a number on the ladies. Yes, it does. Nick says maybe. No, for sure, guys. Come on. I mean, seriously. Richard. Okay, so Nick says, will Richard meet Audrey? Maybe. Maybe he'll meet her on... There has to be some sort of resolution with them. To me, she has to have seen her kid at least once. I mean, she doesn't have to, but I would think that she does. You know what I mean? Like, so she's probably going to be like... maybe on her way out and his way in, they're going to cross paths and she's going to recognize him and maybe hug him. Maybe he's going to be all sad and crying and he's going to become this good person. But quite frankly, all the evil that he has done in this season, I don't see redemption for him. I really don't. And I don't think, I mean, I don't want to be this moral, you know, guy pointing the finger because we all sin, obviously. So that's, I don't know. But I just want to say I don't think he even deserves that. He's been so evil and cruel. And some of the cruelties that he has done were for no good reason, like no reason at all, that it's just, what sort of redemption do you see there? So Melina says, didn't even think of that, T. Gabriela says, that's nice. T is happy and laughing. Nick says, they all should take a family photo together. Happy times. Could you imagine? Evil Coop, Audrey, and Richard. And we still got to see Linda, guys. We still don't know where Linda is. So we got to figure that one out as well. Glad I skipped Disneyland tonight for this. Oh, Nick, but you could go to Disneyland tomorrow. Well, don't go to Disneyland until we're not done with Twin Peaks, you know. Like, in 1 week, it's all over, and then you could do Disneyland every day. Phil says, I think Richard is toast. Yes, and Linda is marmalade at that point. I don't know what to tell you guys. I mean, if the Evil Coop, like, if Audrey had twins from Evil Coop, then why does Linda need like a wheelchair? Is Linda not evil? I mean, can an evil doppelganger create a good child as well? Maybe there was a split thing, so when he creates the twins, one is good, one is evil. Oh my God, I've just had an epiphany, guys. For those of you who don't know, at the end of season 2, a couple of years after that, Cheryl Lee was interviewed, and she said something in an interview once, and she said, oh, David is going to kill me if he knows I told you this, guys, but he intended for me to come back in a possible season 3 as a redhead. Because we know that she was there as the blonde Laura, as the brunette Maddie, and she was supposed to return as a redhead. Season 3 never happened. Season 3 is happening now. What do you think? Is Linda Laura Palmer? I mean, a redhead Cheryl Lee is Linda. Now, you would say people would recognize her face as being Laura Palmer. Well, to be perfectly honest with you, nobody recognized Maddie as Laura Palmer. When Maddie arrived to Twin Peaks, sure, some people said, yeah, you look like Laura Palmer, but like, you know, nobody recognized her for being Laura Palmer. I mean, she wasn't Laura Palmer, but it was the same actress. So what I want to say is, it's very possible that Linda... I know, not really, because Cheryl Lee is not 25. She's much older than that. So how could she pull off looking like a 25-year-old? I don't know. Phil Adams says she had glasses like Superman. Yeah, Maddie wore the glasses like Clark Kent. That was probably also referencing the fact that she's that superhero in disguise. But of course, she wasn't Laura Palmer. But anyway, she died at the hands of Bob, just like Laura Palmer did. So in a way, it was kind of her dying all over again in a parallel universe kind of scenario almost. But yeah, so Hardflame only says, it's been 25 years. Few people would recognize her. Yeah, I know, but she can't be 25. She's like in her 50s now, I mean, the actress. So how to fake the fact that you're a 25-year-old girl? I don't know. So I guess she's not Linda. But it would have been really cool if Linda were some sort of Laura Palmer-esque character. But Linda's in a wheelchair. Or so, you know, we understand that she's in a wheelchair or something. Now, this is a spoiler situation. I'm going to tell you something. David said, no, Laura will always be a blonde. Yes, Laura will always be a blonde, but Maddie was a brunette. And Cheryl Lee was supposed to return as a redhead. Nick retracted a message. Nick always retracts messages. Why do you do that? Very secretive. It's been 25 years. Few people will recognize her. Phil says, if Laura was so important, why didn't the firemen protect her in the original series? Because I think she had to be sacrificed in a way for the greater good. I don't know, guys. Nick said, I wish Lynch did a reflection of Bob in someone's eyes looking at Bad Coop. Yeah, that would have been really cool. But the only people who could see Bob is the person possessed, like the doomed. And I mean, Cooper being a doppelganger, I don't even know. I mean, he does see Bob at the end of season 2 in the mirror. But I wonder. And a theory that somebody stated on the internet that Laura could be Cooper's mother, like from another time warp. You know, I don't know. That's a possibility at this point. Now, I'm going to tell you guys a spoiler. So if you don't want to hear this, now this is not a spoiler in terms of somebody who saw episode part 17 or 18. I haven't seen it. I know nothing about it. But months and months and months before season 3 started airing, I mean, we're talking almost half a year before that, a couple of kind of images leaked. And this was something that was like, we see basically, and I'm going to tell you, if you think this is a spoiler, stop listening now for, let's say, a minute and then come again later. Actually, it doesn't spoil the plot line at all. But and I'm not going to say what it was. Yeah, the TMZ leak, right, Nick? It's the TMZ leak. So we do see Cooper doing something. I'm not going to say what, because I don't want to spoil it. But we don't know if it was a spoiler. And the funny thing was, like, Lynch did not complain about this. This was something that they gave us. And what is funny, Kyle MacLachlan, who plays Cooper, even was, like, talking to the fans while they were on the set of that particular scene. And he was answering questions saying, oh, yeah, it's lovely, you know, blah, blah, I'm drinking coffee to keep warm. You know, I don't know. So Melinda says, yeah, I saw that. Okay. Heartflame says, I want to know about this. Nick says, I bet David took that out and redid something. But, okay, guys, do you want to hear? Give me a yes if you want me to tell you what I saw. Otherwise, I'm not going to say it. I need a yes from somebody. I need permission. Gabriela is, oh, well, is not a yes. Okay, Phil says yes. Melinda says yes. Debbie says yes. Okay, everybody, Mary says yes. Debbie says yes. Ferguson says yes. Christopher says okay, guys, so what I saw, and whoever who has seen the leak from TMZ is basically we see Special Agent Dale Cooper, or so we think it's him. He's dressed up as Dale Cooper. And he's kind of holding hands with Laura Palmer or with Cheryl Lee. She has shorter hair in that scene. It's shot at night. They're in front of the Palmer house. So the dark shot doesn't really reveal the color of her hair. We don't know if she's blonde or red or brunette. I think she's blonde though, but you never know. And they're walking up the stairs to the house. And he knocks at the door or something, and the door opens. And it's as if he brought Laura back home. Now, this is the image that leaked. This is the short snippet or video that leaked. And then we have these snippets of Kyle MacLachlan talking to the people and blah, 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 you know. Oh, hey, Talala, how you doing, sweetie? Welcome to the purple room. Nick says she was wearing like a plain outfit or something. Yeah, but you know what I mean? Like, so they were shooting in that moment. And that's a scene we haven't seen yet. And I wonder to myself, at this point, since we've never seen the scene yet, and since Cheryl Lee wasn't in the TV show except, I mean, for new acting scenes, except in part 1, can you imagine if David Lynch or whoever leaked that video, like, spoiled the final for us half a year ago? I mean, that would be bananas. That basically, you know, Laura kind of manages to return back to Sarah's house. I don't know. But it's super awkward that they shot that and we haven't seen that footage yet. And it's possible, like Nick said, that David found out what happened and he kind of decided to change completely that snippet or that part of the story. Everything is possible. I hope it is, because I really hope that ain't going to be the last scene we see in Twin Peaks, because that would mean that I would have seen the last scene of Twin Peaks Season 3 half a year before it even aired. Melinda says that would be wild if spoiler. Totally. Could you imagine? Nick just DM'd me the images from the trailers that we have not seen. Okay, let me see. Phyllis says, I think the last place I'd go would be that Palmer house. I don't know. I mean, I would go there. I don't think Sarah Palmer... And guys, listen, I've watched a lot of videos, people's theories, people talking about episode 15. Oh no, you see how time flies? It's episode 14. In episode 15, the log lady dies. In episode 14, Sarah Palmer opens her face. Part 14, a lot of people say, oh, she has the evil in her, you know, the spiritual finger is so black and dark and blah, blah, blah. But let me remind you, Sarah Palmer was not out for blood. She was in that bar, sitting on her own, ordered her Bloody Mary, and the guy came to her and was a total douchebag to her. And she warned him, she says, please step away. She warned him, I think, twice or even 3 times. And the guy wouldn't let her be. And then she's like, okay, you know what? Done. And she killed him. But it's not that she was on the hunt for blood. I think she just wants to be left alone, to be honest with you. So I don't know. So let me just check what Nick sent me. Okay, so okay, so Nick sent me basically the snippets in the trailer, like from the trailer. So basically when you know, remember before Twin Peaks started airing, we had a couple of trailers as kind of teasers to the new show. And there were a couple of snippets, a couple of scenes that are in the trailer that still have not made it into the series. So these might be the bits that are going to be in the last 2 parts, in part 17 and 18. So we have a kind of a close-up of Cooper's face, Cooper in a car driving. We have Andy with something that looks like a picnic basket he's taking out of a car. We have the stairs up to Laura's room. We have the Palmer house at night, which could be that sequence from when Cooper arrives with Laura to the house. And then there's something else there which I can't see. It's too dark. The 6th image. Nick says, sorry, kind of dark. Yeah. But I don't know, guys. At this point, I was just talking to a friend of mine the other day about Twin Peaks Season 3 in general. Oh, wait, Talalai says, I think Audrey's in the Black Lodge because of Backwards Jazz Band at the end. Yeah, but when did she get into the Black Lodge? She was in a coma in a hospital. She gave birth to Richard. She couldn't have given birth to Richard in the Black Lodge. How would the rest of the world know that Richard is her son if she gave birth to him outside of this world? Phil Adams, the Roadhouse is the Black Lodge. Well, at times when there's a lot of death going on or pain or kicking ass in there, then yeah, it is kind of looks like the Black Lodge. Talalai 99, but there's a connection to the Black Lodge or to another place through the Roadhouse, because we do have a scene where the giant in season 2 appears in the Roadhouse. Talalai 99 says, it was her dance theme backwards. Nick says, so many questions. Why are there so many questions? I feel ya, Nick. Forever Fragrant Kid says, well, but this is the thing. So I was talking to this friend of mine, and I was like, you know what, guys, my friend, Twin Peaks, you know, as much as I love season 3, I love it. But I miss season 2. And I'm super sad that we're not going to get a season 4. I mean, I do hope we get one, but I don't think we will. Because to me, after all is said and done, there's no, you know, redemption for the last 2 parts. All the cards have been set out on the table. We know what's going to go down now. All we're waiting for it to happen right now in the last 2 episodes is the action scenes, the resolution of the little plot lines that are still open, like Naido, the magic that's going to come from Naido, Freddy's glove hand, the sort of punch he's going to give to Evil Cooper, whatever, you know, that sort of stuff is still open. But to me, season 3 seems like literally, guys, seems like an introduction to season 4. It's like season 3 after 25 years is giving the people who don't know Twin Peaks, is giving them a huge lesson in Twin Peaks history, and because you got to study a lot to figure out what's going down in terms of characters and plot lines in season 3. You got to know a lot about season 1, 2, and Fire Walk with Me, and the missing pieces, and the In-Between Two Worlds segment. But having said all that, season 3 seems to me like not a prequel, like a prologue to season 4. It's as if it's telling us after 25 years, now we're going to rub off the dust off of this Twin Peaks that's been kind of somewhere in the cellar for 25 years. There's a lot of dust and cobwebs all over it. And we're going to kind of clean all that away. And it's going to take us 18 episodes to clean all that away, to get to the core of Twin Peaks, to the clean Twin Peaks that we know from the 90s. And now, finally, after 18 episodes, they're not done yet, but that's what I feel is going to happen. We're going to have cleaned it all away, and then we're going to be down there at the core, at the root. And then what's going to happen, you know? I'm thinking to myself, what's going to happen then? Like, then it's going to end when it should begin. Because to me, season 4 should be the old school, kind of more lighthearted but in-depth Twin Peaks that we know. Finally, today we see Cooper as Cooper, and we're loving him. We're so excited and ecstatic to see him with his energy, and he's bubbly and frizzy, and he's like, okay, guys, let's do this. I'm positive. We're going to get this done. It's all going to be really good. And you're like, yes, that's what we were missing, and it's back again, and the theme song is kicking in, and it's quicker again, and everything is like going back to how it used to be, and yet it's ending. And I don't feel that's a correct way to finish this. I don't think this is the end. There should be more. Because we waited, in truth, we did wait 25 years. And in truth, we are still waiting for Twin Peaks to return. Twin Peaks hasn't returned yet. I'm still counting. To me, we're still at Twin Peaks. I'm like, okay, it's been 27 years, 26 to 27 years now that Twin Peaks ended to me. Because to me, what we see now is still... it's incredible art, but we're still not in Twin Peaks. So what will happen if Cooper arrives to Twin Peaks in part 17, and then part 18 is all played out in Twin Peaks? Then I can tell you, yes, we've been waiting 26 to 27 years, and we got one episode of Twin Peaks. After all these years of waiting, we got one episode of Twin Peaks. That's how it feels. And the rest is a beautiful landscape inspired by Twin Peaks. It's a beautiful homage to Twin Peaks. It's a beautiful continuation of certain plot lines and ways of envisioning and seeing Twin Peaks. But it's not, you know. And I was talking to another friend, and this other friend told me, well, Dacob, you know what? Maybe David and Mark just wanted to respect the Twin Peaks of the 90s. They didn't want to damage it. They didn't want to, you know, risk it and make it worse than it was. They didn't want to go back there. They wanted to deliver something new. They wanted to leave the 90s Twin Peaks where it is, as it is, in its beautiful golden bubble, and kind of add something new rather than trying to revisit something old. But to be perfectly honest with you, I don't think they would have damaged anything of the old school lore of Twin Peaks from the 90s had they given us Cooper from the beginning on. I mean, he could have battled evil Coop. And I get that this passage of him, you know, returning to himself, it wasn't supposed to be a given. It's supposed to be a struggle. You know, there had to be some sort of evolution for him to get there. But honestly, David failed on that in that respect, because good Cooper or Dougie Cooper, he didn't need some huge revelation to become himself again. He spent literally 15 parts or 15 episodes not knowing that he had to just put a fork in the frickin' electric socket, because that's what brought him back, ultimately. Nothing else. There was no spiritual ascending. There was no spiritual returning back to himself in these 15 episodes. We were thinking there was going to be. We were waiting for it. I mean, beautiful things happened as he was Dougie, and incredible things, but it was so simple in the end. The solution and the conclusion, you know, we spent 15 episodes waiting for him to get electrocuted, basically, which he did on his own behalf. And he could have done it from day one. So that also felt a little bit like we've been cheated out of 15 episodes of more energy of Cooper as Cooper, and of plot lines that could have happened in Twin Peaks. You know, I missed Nadine a lot, and I got a little bit of Nadine throughout the episode, sprinkled here and there. But then, you know, in 15th episode, she finally tells Ed that he can leave her, and that's kind of a happy ending for him and Norma. For Nadine, I don't know what sort of happy ending that is, but it felt awkward, nevertheless. That kind of, I feel now the Nadine part is over. She might come back with the Golden Shovel and Jacoby in the last two parts, and she might play another role yet. But I'm missing that telenovela vibe that we had in the Twin Peaks of the 90s. And as much as I love this Twin Peaks 3, I still feel like it's an introduction to Twin Peaks 4 rather than the end of everything. Phil says, so Nadine and Ed were already divorced or what? No, but she's going to let him divorce. She's like, go live with Norma. I've been bad to you, guilting you into staying with me all these years. Now I understand. I love you so much, and if I really love you, you should let the person you love go. Ryan says, I think Cooper will reincorporate his shadow and go to the White Lodge. Joe says, I agree, Dacob. I'm not saying I'm disappointed, but you just summed up how I feel exactly. Melinda says, well, Dacob, you're usually right, LOL. Maybe there will be a 4. I don't think there will be. If we knew they're going to bring back Twin Peaks, with season 4, I would be like, okay, I can finally say Twin Peaks is finally back because Cooper is back. And not just Cooper is back, but we're all back in Twin Peaks. There's kind of all this stuff surrounding it is over. And now we could begin to dig into deeper mysteries, into deeper things that are rooted within Twin Peaks, within the people living in Twin Peaks. And all of those endings in the Roadhouse with all those new characters, young characters added, as uninteresting as some of them appear to be, as uncharismatic as they appear to be, because some of them just don't have that charisma on camera, still, it's like an attempt at telling us there is that telenovela potential going on. I miss terribly Invitation to Love. I would have loved to see somebody turn on a freaking TV set, and instead of watching the news in Las Vegas where we see Dougie with Janie E., seeing Invitation to Love ending, or something like Invitation to Love, episode 5053, after 26 years it's still running. That would have been hilarious to see. But no, we didn't even get that. Nick says, Dacob, what's your worst fear next Sunday night? I don't know what my worst fear is, but I'm definitely, I don't know. My worst fear? I don't know. I don't have fears really. I don't think anything will disappoint me more than it already has or hasn't. I'm fine with whatever they give us. I totally trust, Mark and David to do what they had to do, what they need to do. But I think there's been this hype from a lot of the people that are doing. Wait, let me see. I have the feeling that there's this like a lot of content creators on YouTube and stuff that have been analyzing, since the beginning, all of these episodes. A lot of people have been speculating on all of these incredible deep theories. One of the deepest ones is that Laura Palmer is David Lynch's mother. That Laura Palmer is Cooper's mom, which is the craziest theory ever. We've been going nuts for weeks and weeks and weeks and months, actually. Now it's been months since Twin Peaks started. And yet the solution is so simple. David and Mark just played it. They're playing it out so simple for it. It's so simple. There's no complication whatsoever. Everything is so linearly structured. That's been a little bit disappointing, because after your mind starts flying and fantasizing, at the end they tell you, no, you should have just kept it all way simple. And Richard, was building up to be this huge revelation. Okay, when he finds out that Evil Cooper is his father, what's going to happen then? Guess what? He don't figure it out because he dies before that happens. And I'm like, that's an easy way out. You've been building up this whole strategy, this whole idea and concept of Richard being the son, the prodigal son of evil. And then basically he fried to a crisp. Well, he disappears. So he might return. Maybe that's the end of season 3. Maybe Richard is going to exit the Black Lodge as something new. I don't know. As his own frog moth. I don't know. But it felt like after season 2 ended, I felt like something has been stolen from me. I haven't seen the end. And now, when Richard just disappeared like that, I felt like, something has been taken away from me before it was given to me. I don't know. But anyway, so biggest fear, no clue. Heartflame, Edie says, my worst fear would be if Cooper got sent back to the lodge for 25 more years. Could you imagine? Talalai says, think we are getting plenty next week. I hope so. Debbie says, there's a lot to clean up in just 2 episodes. True. Joe says, is it possible Lynch is just telling the powers that be at Showtime to keep season 4 hush-hush? Oh, I hope so. Phil says, I'm glad Steven is dead. I'm not sure Steven is dead. Debbie says, there's a lot to clean up. Oh, yeah, I already read that comment. Nick says, I want more Black Lodge. T would love to see them bring back Twin Peaks for season 4. So Eduardo's, he fears that everything is a dream. That would be the worst fear. That is your fear. My fear is not that it's all a dream. I mean, I don't know. I mean, that would be lame. It's not a fear of mine. But if that's their way out of all of this, that it was all a dream, then I would be like, I've seen that before, done many times. So why make Twin Peaks season 3 at all if you're going to just end it that way? Talalai says, Dacob, relax. Lynch always leaves things open. I expect many resolutions, but also a big cliffhanger. Yes, I also expect a big cliffhanger. If we respect the tradition of Twin Peaks, it should end with a big cliffhanger. Forever Fragrant Kid says, everything better not be a dream. That tactic is such a damn cop-out. Talalai says, true. Forever Fragrant Kid, I hope you are right, Talalai. Debbie says, like the Wizard of Oz. Joe says, yes, Talalai. Gabriela Margal says, I hope it's not a dream. That would be sad. Phil says, I miss Pete to keep things real. Well, Pete, you know, is dead. The actor is dead. So he's not there to keep things real. But that's why Nadine states that Jacoby is the only one who's still sane and still keeping things real in Twin Peaks. So Nadine is kind of telling us that Jacoby, or Dr. Amp, is the keeper of the truth and keeping it real in Twin Peaks now. Nick says Cooper has 2 kids. No, 3. Actually, why would the giant tell Cooper at the beginning of part 1, 2 birds with 1 stone, Richard, Linda, when there's also Sonny Jim? It should be 3 birds with 1 stone. Granted, Linda is the daughter. Unless, now if they mentioned Linda many episodes ago, I'm sure it's going to be her. Unless I'm thinking already totally like, you see what Lynch is doing to my head? I'm thinking, unless Sonny Jim is going to be transgendered one day, he's going to change, you know, he's going to be like, oh no, actually I'm a woman. He's going to become Linda one day. And the giant already foresees that. So in the future, it will be Richard and Linda. But now it's Sonny Jim. I don't know. That sounds silly. But if Linda is the daughter of Evil Coop and Richard is the daughter of Evil Coop and Sonny Jim is the daughter of Dougie, then it's actually 3 kids, not 2. Nick says, where's Annie? How's Annie? We don't know. And also about Judy, we're going to figure that out. Unless Judy isn't Lucy, as I stated before, but who knows. Phil says, who is Linda? Didn't they talk about a Linda? Yes, they did talk about a Linda in like part, I don't know, 5 or 6. When Carl is driving some dude out to Twin Peaks from the new fat trailer park. And he says, how's Linda? And the guy says, you know, she's been in the war and it took us forever to get the money together from the government or whatever to buy her a new wheelchair. And that's all mention we had of Linda, but we never saw her. For Frequency says, yeah, I'm wondering about Annie too. Phil says, Annie was written out. Annie might have been written out, but she is mentioned in season 2. And as Norma tells Walter before she buys him, or she lets him buy her out of that part of the company, and she keeps the Double R Diner to herself, she says, I want to take care of my family. When she says take care of my family, did she mean Ed or also her sister, Annie? We don't know, but she did mention a family, and by mentioning a family, we know that that argument has to be touched upon again. Day Nebriation Nation podcast says Dougie Coop will die. He has the ring. Dougie Coop will die? No, Dougie Coop. Well, first of all, Dougie Coop. There's no Dougie is gone already. Cooper is now Cooper. He has woken up. He will not die because you have to put the ring on this hand. You have to put it on the spiritual finger. He hasn't. Actually, did he take the ring? Because wait a minute, did he forget the ring? Oh my God! Because when the one-armed man, somebody remind me this. When the one-armed man gave him the ring, he took it, but before Bushnell or somebody entered the room, he hid the ring under the pillow of his bed in the hospital. He put the ring under the pillow. Did he grab it from underneath the pillow before he left the hospital room, or did he leave it there? We need to figure that out. My God, I missed so many comments. Okay, so basically he said has the ring, then he will have to get back into his actual body that Evil Coop has had for 25 years. No, I think those are two different bodies. But you never know with the lodges. Phil says, oh, you think Stephen missed at that range? No, maybe he didn't shoot it himself. Maybe he just shot into the wild. Nick said, I don't know. Maybe he's dead. But usually if they don't show them die on camera, just the same thing that happened to Miriam or Miriam. We didn't see her die on camera when Richard tried to kill her in her trailer. And guess what? She's alive. Actually, she's in a coma in the hospital. Maybe next to the room where Audrey's maybe in a coma. Maybe Miriam is going to be the reason why Audrey, I don't know. Well, I do believe that T told it as it is. It's because Richard was electrocuted that Audrey woke up. Linda says, Nick says, Linda's husband, the guy with Carl, got arrested in real life for attempted murder. I heard that. Melinda says, can't be a dream. I don't think so. Phil says, Evil Coop doesn't have Dale's real body. No, Evil Coop doesn't have Dale's real body. Gabriella says, Annie was manufactured too. We don't know. She might have been. Inebriation, then Cooper will be back, body and soul, and he'll need a haircut. Well, he has really good hair already now in the hospital. Like when he stood up his Coop, everybody was like, oh, okay, well, he looks perfect. Scott says, all of the Roadhouse scenes and bands may just have been imagined in Audrey's head. Possible. Talalai says, I thought Cooper placed the ring under the pillow in the hospital. Yes, I just said that. Maybe the stream was bad, but I said that, and I don't know if he took the ring from underneath the pillow again before he left the hospital room. Ryan says, maybe he left the ring for Cole, and that's in the message he left for him. I would think that the good Cooper wants the ring to put it on evil Cooper's spiritual finger as means of getting the evil Cooper back into the lodge. It's like one of those only options he has to get him back into the lodge. Joe says, so Evil Coop had coordinates to the top of the rock and he set up his son. So Evil Coop was given the coordinates so someone could kill him? Well, no, because Joe, so Evil Coop says to Richard, I got coordinates from 3 different people. 2 coordinates are the same. 1 coordinates are different. What would you do? So so Evil Cooper was aware of the fact that somebody's trying to trick him into going to a spot where he might get killed. So he just sacrificed his son. He's like, okay, if this works out, if the coordinates are right, my son will be brought to wherever he needs to be brought and I could go to the same spot. If the coordinates are wrong, whatever, I'll sacrifice him. Joe says, Jerry's been lost a while. Yeah, well, I mean, we think Jerry's been lost, but at the end of the day, Jerry's the one who's been having the time of his life. I mean, he's been rediscovering his foot. He's been rediscovering nature. He spent all this time in the woods, and I'm sure he had this incredible experience. Eduardo says, okay, wait. Phil says, oh my God, something good. Joe says, great question about Norma's sister, Annie. Phil says, I bet those coordinates were sent by Philip Jeffries to kill Evil Coop. Eduardo says, does Cooper like Evil Cooper so much, and that is why he should put a ring on it? Very Beyonce of you. Ryan says, kind of random, but why does Mike always appear on a chair? Maybe because all the exchange scenes that have, when they're in the Black Lodge talking about important topics, except when we see the evolution of the arm, then they're all standing looking at it. But they usually sit down. With important exchange of information within the Black Lodges, we have people seated. And it's, I don't know, to me it's just kind of reminiscent of the Black Lodge, that there's like kind of a chair. He doesn't always appear on a chair situation, the one-armed man. And in this episode, in this part, he did appear in the presence of a chair. But he did also deliver an important bit of information while that happened. Heartflame, I think Mike giving Cooper the ring confirms the theory that it's been Mike pretending to be Jeffries who put out the hit on Mr. C with Ray and Daria. Possible. Joe says, good Heartflame. Nick says, I will miss Dougie eating pie. Well, we're going to have Cooper eating pie, so it's the same. Talalai says, Mike is going to manufacture another Dougie to return home to his wife and child. Really heartwarming scene when Janie E said, whoever you are, thank you. I don't know. You really think he wants to manufacture somebody to... He wants to manufacture somebody to live with Janie E and Sunny, but but I know that Dougie was supposedly, after he was manufactured, he was like normal, but then he had a car accident and then he was all wobbly after that. But to be honest with you, he was created for all the wrong reasons. Dougie had habits with hookers and gambling. So I don't know if a good Cooper creates a double, if the double will be good. I don't think that would be very fair to Janie E and Sunny Jim. I don't know. And also I don't know if really Cooper wants to have. I think Cooper has a different moral. I think his moral is totally conservative. I don't think he wants to have two Coopers out in the world. I think he's manufacturing a copy Cooper just to kind of try to trick evil Cooper in the last 2 episodes or something like that. Melinda says, yes, Talalaya, Dougie will be manufactured. He said Dougie will be back. Phil says, I think they are trying to make Mike appear like the dwarf, Michael J. Anderson, even though he isn't actually short. Hardflame says, Dougie was made with Mr. C's evil DNA, and Dougie 2 will be from Gooddale DNA. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, mate James, how you doing? Says, I just watched the scene of Cooper in the hospital again, and I did not see him grab the ring. Yeah, but we saw him put the ring underneath the table. We saw him put the ring under the pillows, but he didn't take it back. Why is this thing always getting higher? Dallas Star 3 says, don't know if you brought it up already, but what happened to the real Diane? We don't know yet. We spoke about it a little bit, but we don't know. She might be locked in a lodge. She might be dead. She might be the woman that opened the door to evil Cooper when he was above the convenience store in the motel area. We don't know. Nick says he's credited as Philip Gerard, not Mike. Why? Because he has different names. I don't know. Maybe we're thinking too much into it. Melinda says pillow, LOL. Yeah. Nick says mistake. Hardflame says we didn't see him put his pants on either. But we know it happened. Eduardo says Diane is in the sheriff's station. Where? Diane is in the sheriff's station? Of Twin Peaks or some other city? Like where? Diane, I'm at the sheriff's station. I sent those coordinates. I'm at the sheriff's station. I'm not me. Christopher says she's in the sheriff's office, Diane. But did I miss something? Is she there because she's there, or is she there because she's gonna be there in the next episode? Or is she like Josie, like locked in some wooden drawer of the sheriff's station? Phil says that motel was the same motel where Leland met with Teresa Banks, but that might just be because they had the location to film. Maybe. Eduardo says Naido equals Diane. Mind blown. In which language does Naido equal Diane? Because Naido doesn't, Naido, Diane, I don't know, but could be, everything's possible. But Naido could also be Judy. Nick says, what does real Diane look like? More like Laura Dern? Long hair? No clue. Melinda says, Diane did say sheriff's station. What does it mean? Dallas Star 3, would the doppelganger know the thoughts and movements of their other? Well, obviously not, because evil Cooper has no clue what good Cooper is doing. So, but one thing we do know, he's afraid of him, because he never went personally to Las Vegas to try to kill him. He never went personally over there to confront him. And he had a good chance at killing him, because he's the only one who knows what's really going down. And while Dougie was still Dougie and not good Cooper, evil Cooper had a great opportunity to use the fact that, good Cooper is kind of in this slowed down mode to get to him. But at the same time, good Cooper, while he was in this Dougie mode, he still had really, really awake reflexes. When Ike the Spike attacked him, he reacted back like a killer. So maybe Evil Cooper knows that the reflexes are still there. So if he were to attack Good Cooper would win because his strength would return back. But then again, Evil Cooper has supernatural strength, as we see him arm wrestle Renzo in a couple of parts ago. And win and just kind of kills him easily. So Evil Cooper has supernatural strength. Good Cooper seems to have it too, but we're not really sure. Nick says, will Red come back? Yeah, we're going to see him again. Heartflame, I don't think he's afraid. I just think he's been too busy to do it himself. The Evil Cooper was too busy to confront Good Cooper. Maybe. Esther is really 33. You think Good Coop and Bad Coop are going to have a street fight? God, I hope not. But I don't know. But there's going to be some sort of meeting between them. Joe says, Hutch and Chantel's end could never had been predicted. So random. Yeah, I mean, there's this huge build-up to these characters, which, mind you, they're not like so much of these big characters. They're famous actors, but it's not like we have these like incredible plot lines following them about their past and stuff. I mean, they do say some random things. Chantal did mention something interesting about Mars in last part or 2 parts ago, which is something to be connected to the whole stars aligning and situation of Mars being, you know, also the god of war and blood and stuff like that. But all in all things considered, I think it's a little bit, the way they ended was just too easy, and it almost felt to me, and I almost do not dare say this, but I'm gonna say it anyway, like, you know, as if like Lynch had thought, or Mark and Lynch together thought, okay, well, now their purpose has been served, just like Dougie's. Done. We can get rid of them now. We don't need them anymore. And I felt like there should have been more of a conclusion to their storyline. At the same time, maybe it's also genius because that's how they would kill people. They just make other people's existences disappear. They just shoot to kill without questioning anything. And at the end of the day, that's how they went as well. They died too, just like that, you know, without any extra thought. I don't know. Eduardo says, was the bald guy from Zawoski Accounting sent by Evil Coop to kill Chantal and the other guy? Maybe. But he said that they're on his lawn, that he lives there. No, I think we've seen him before. The Zawoski guy. I think we've seen him before. Maybe I'm wrong. Phil says, love that line. I will move my car, LOL. Like in Lost Highway. Forever Fragrant Kid, good question, Eduardo. Joe says, Eduardo, good question, but very random. Dallister 3, the whole assassin showdown was so very Tarantino. Awesome scene. So you see, maybe for the aesthetic of the showdown, it was all really beautiful and fun, I guess. I don't know. Nick says, have you watched the alternate ending to the pilot? I rewatched it the other day. I recommend watching it again. Yes, I have seen both versions. For Franklin, yes, said Dallastar. Esther, good Coop is gonna pour boiling coffee on Bad Coop's butt cheeks, sending him running back into the red room screaming. Well, that's a slapstick comedy ending there, right for you. Taralai says, Lynch just wanted to redo Bonnie and Clyde ending. Yeah, okay. I'm starting to get bored of all of these references, though, you know. And it's fun to discover. It's like a game. It's fun to discover these things, but after a certain point, we're done with that. Like, let's move on. You know what I mean? Heartflame says, I think the Polish accountant was just a random event. Melinda says, oh my God, Talalai, I was also thinking Bonnie and Clyde. Phil Adams, Evil Coop wouldn't have sent an assassin to kill his own assassins. Yes, he would. He sent his own assassin to kill Duncan, who was also his indirect assassin. Duncan was paid by Evil Coop. Okay, he didn't deliver what he was supposed to deliver, so Chantal killed him. But still, it was an assassin of an assassin assassinating an assassin. A lot of sassy S's. Yeah. Melissa says, oh my God, Talalai, I was also thinking Bonnie and Clyde. All right, we read that. Phil says, was Duncan paid by Coop? Yes. Duncan was paid by Coop. Eduardo C. Good Cooper knows that Mitchum brothers are assassins. Why is he overlooking their sins? Yeah, that felt awkward too. Well, because they love him and Jamie E and Janie E and Sonny Jim, and I guess that's kind of a reason for him to forgive. Well, because in the eye of the law, technically, they didn't do anything wrong. The burned down hotel or whatever was legal. I mean, they didn't do it, so that's why they got all those millions. I guess in this world of all of these criminals, they seem to be working as legally as it gets. I don't know, don't ask me. Phil says, I thought maybe Duncan was paid by Jeffries. No, I think Duncan, no, I'm quite positive Duncan was paid by Evil Coop. But then again, maybe I'm wrong, guys. Does anybody know? Was Duncan paid by Jeffries or by Evil Coop? Heartflame, they also had Ike kill the assassin lady with the hip-hop theme. Yeah, that's true. She didn't deliver, so she got killed. Talalai, it would make more sense because if you think about, if they were not even blocking that guy's driveway, so probably a setup and not random. Yeah, that's what made me think also that there was some sort of setup because they were not blocking his, unless Chantal was blocking his highway, but she was just didn't care. She's like, no, we're not blocking your highway, skedaddle. And then, we don't know. Joe says, yes, Dacob, I think we just expect more cohesive plot lines, interactions. Nick says, we will not see Harry Truman. I also don't think we will. Unless Good Cooper, when he arrives at Twin Peaks, he asks Frank Truman about Harry, and maybe Good Cooper goes to say goodbye to Harry, if Harry's also passing away. Joe says, the FBI doesn't react until the end. I know, that was super awkward. Esther says, it seems as though Good Coop was aware the entire time he was in his vegetative state. Yeah. Yes, because when he wakes up, he's like, okay, this happened, this has to be done. We have to set this up. It's like he's been thinking about everything he has to do all this time. Phil says, so at the prison, when Coop called someone and said the cow jumped over the moon, what was that about? It was some code. I knew the answer to that. I forgot. But I only forgot because I think that's not relevant anymore, because I think that plot line ended, but I'm not so sure. Yeah, May James, I think the Mitchum brothers explained the random accounting guy. People are stressed. Lol, he must have had a long day. Yeah, that was a really funny moment when the Mitchum brothers said that. Talalai, Phil, no idea. I'm still trying to figure out the 119 lady. Dallastar says Julie Cruz will sing the final song at the Roadhouse, calling it now. Yes, she will. Agree. Totally agree. T says yes to Talalai. Okay, so the 119 lady, we had the repetition of the same scene twice when she was with her little pill. Because she first, in, I don't know, part, I don't know what, 2, 3 or 4, took the last pill out of the plastic container, swallowed it. And the plastic container was empty. And then a couple of parts later, when the police are taking the bits of the exploded car off of her roof, we see her again at that table, and there's still that one last pill inside the plastic container. So they rewinded time, and I don't know for what reason, but something is going on there. Phil says, lol, I guess you're right. They seem to start ideas and give up on them. Heartflame says, Talalai, 119 was probably the imprint on her pill. Some lore tabs have 119 on them. And Talalai says, oh, right, Heartflame. So she was just like screaming out the pill number that she wanted to swallow? Okay, but that's, again, you know, I'm like, oh, really? I don't know. But guys, are you aware of the fact that this is the one time before the last time we have these encounters? This is kind of so sad that it's all coming to an end. Either way, no matter how incredible it's going to be or disappointing, we don't know. I'm thinking positive. I think it's going to be great. Either way, it's still... the purple room won't exist anymore. You know what I mean? It's going to be over. Phil Adams, Lynch and Frost must be watching us and laughing. I hope they are watching and laughing. And let me tell you why, Phil. I hope they're watching, and I hope they're laughing their asses off. I hope that, because they have delivered such incredible entertainment to us. They have made us laugh. They have made us fear. They have made us cry. And they deserve to be entertained as well. I think they have given us so much that they deserve some laughing and entertainment back. I don't think it was an easy call to make for Lynch to edit Twin Peaks Season 3 after all of those incredible actors and friends that he has been working with for so many years passed away right after finishing shooting. And I think it has been very hard for him to go through that. Could you imagine, I mean, for us to watch an episode and to cry through it, when the log lady dies, for example, could you imagine for him to edit it? You don't edit an episode in like that. You need days to edit an episode. You need to go over and over and over through all the footage over and over and over again. Seeing the footage of Catherine E. Coulson, who plays the log lady, to go through the footage, to edit it, to listen to her words all the time, to edit the audio, that's painful. It's painful when you're watching your friend and you're editing. I mean, you love your friend and you're happy to be able to spend that virtual time with your friend still while editing. But that was and also with Miguel Ferrer, to edit all the scenes with Gordon Cole and Albert. It must have been painful. And that's why I'm telling you, if in any sort of way, these sort of chats that we're doing, these sort of streams that we're doing are contributing to maybe Mark and David watching us and having a laugh at our expenses, I am welcoming that. And I do hope that they appreciate and have fun, because they deserve fun after all the work that they've been doing. Forever Fragrant says, yes, Final Eve. Talalai says, must remember to shout out penicillin next time I take one. Melinda says, I'm going to miss live streams. Well, we're going to have more live streams. They're just not going to be in the purple room anymore. Melinda says, oh my God, I'm repeating myself. Joe says, season 4, it's not impossible. From your mouth to God's ears, Joe. Esther says, there's too much stuff to wrap up in 2 hours. Oh, they could wrap it up in 2 seconds if they wanted to. T says, ha ha ha, Talalai. Talalai says, so, are getting drunk together next week after the finale? Yes. Oh, yes. Melinda already has the champagne in the fridge. I'm going to purchase a bottle. We're going to guzzle at the end of season 3. We're going to drink. Everybody get your drinks on. If you're of age, only if you're of age. We're going to, and Melinda says, oh yes, Talalai, we're going to drink and we're going to cry. We're definitely going to cry. Yes, a lot of crying. I just rewatched part 15 today and I cried again. Heartflame says, I'll be here with my bong rips, y'all. You go for it. Whatever makes you happy. Nick says, why would manufacturer Diane say I'm not me? Because she's not Diane. That's like the Tulpa said, it's not me, it's not me. And then she got killed because she wasn't herself. Maybe she kind of snapped out of it in that moment and was kind of showing her true face. Joe says, I'm getting drunk on coffee. Yeah, well, that could get you totally hyper. Talalai says, LOL, and why not hard flame with the bong? Well, guys, it's been a while. We've been talking. Esther says, do you think we'll see Annie again? I hope so, but I don't know. Heather Graham hasn't been credited as being in the new series. Unless it's not a surprise last minute, I don't think she's going to be in it. Heartflame says, I love Tulpa Diane's final line. Yeah, to the one-armed man. I know, F you. Yeah, that was super cool. Like, she had a snappy, zesty personality to the bitter end. But you could go back and check out the video I made on my theories on Diane Evans. I called it the Diane Evans dossier, the dossier of Diane Evans. And I did hypothesize this possibility of her being the Tulpa, without using the word Tulpa, because I just used the word doppelganger, because Tammy didn't mention Tulpa back then when I made that video. But it all kind of comes full circle. That bob haircut really was revealing after all. Talalai says, how about we all make one prediction each for the finale? Okay, guys, you go, write your predictions, and I'm going to read them out for the rest of the world to see. And while you're typing them, I'm just going to say to whoever is watching this video, maybe if YouTube still exists in 5 to 10 years, who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? But mind you, if you are watching this video 10 years from now, some of us from the chat might not even be here anymore. I might not even be here anymore. You never know. Life is strange. But think of it this way. We right now have this incredible experience of living it live as Twin Peaks is happening from week to week. None of us right now in the comment section, except maybe if somebody from the chat hasn't acted in Twin Peaks, none of us knows what is going to happen. And it's a beautiful place to be in, that not knowing. And that's something that we're treasuring a lot, because that I felt this way also back in the 90s when the first Twin Peaks aired. It was incredible. And once it's all over, the second the last episode has aired, it's going to be all over the internet. All the spoilers will be all over the internet. The photos, the screenshots of the last episode, of the last scene, of the last sequence, it's all going to be out there. Right now, there's nothing out there. So it will be a different world. So I do hope that what we have managed to deliver together in the Purple Room to whoever's watching in many years from now, I hope that you will feel the enthusiasm. I hope that you will be able to feel the energy and the love that we have for this show, and how incredible it makes us feel right now, living it right now. So there's a, is it future, is it past for you? Bam. Time capsule, anybody? I'm already thinking 10 years ahead at least. See you in 10 years. Okay, let me read the predictions. Wow, there's a lot of them. Okay, first Melinda says, are you using new computer now? No, this is actually still the iPad. New computer is on the flow right now. Heartflame says, I predict that Mr. C will impersonate Good Cooper, and Lucy will have to choose the right one. Forever Fragrant Kid, I want to see Nick's theory. Laura and Cooper dancing in the Black Lodge. No, Nick's theory was Gordon Cole and Laura dancing in the Black Lodge. Eduardo, Cooper reunites with Jeffries and become one and only. One in charge of the White Lodge and the other in charge of the Black Lodge. Melinda says, oh God, that's sad. Maybe not be here in 10 years. We might not, Melinda. You never know. Life is short. Talalai says, here's my prediction. Green Glove Man, Freddy, saves Nido's life from Bad Cooper with a fatal knockout. She turns out to be Judy, and so they get married as Punch and Judy. Oh my God. Jesus. You know what? This sounds like, I don't know who watches the Golden Girls. It sounds like the Stepan Fetchik story. Gabriela says, Laura and Cooper somehow will stay together. Delastar 3 says, it would be nice to see the return of Chester Desmond. Nick says, Jeffries, Diane, and who else gave him coordinates? Ray. Ray gave him coordinates. Joe says, my prediction is like what you said last week, Dacob. There will be no mercy. Forever Fragrant Kid is laughing. Yamade James, my prediction. It's going to end with Cooper eating blueberry pie instead of a cherry pie after all events are over, making us wonder if he is still Bad Coop. Nick says, we don't have time for 5 minutes of tree blowing next week. Melinda Cooper, I'm going to do a live stream Purple Room marathon someday. That's going to be beautiful. Could you imagine? Inebriation Nation says, Eduardo C., I think maybe Diane Nido is somehow Diane. She says, I'm in the police station. Then she says, oh no, I gave him the coordinates to the sheriff's station, I think. Then she says, I'm not me. Maybe you have something. Melinda says, everyone will end up at the diner eating cherry pie. Forever Fragrant Kid says, yes, Nick, no more time wasting. Eduardo says, then I'm not that crazy about the Diane being in the station. Heartflame, my other prediction. Woodsmen show up in the jail cells, try and kill James, but his forehead is too strong. The shade of it all. Hameen says, Hi to everybody. Hi to you too. Heart Flame says, this gives Punch a chance to Smashy Sham, whatever. Who wants to eat some garmonbosia? Oh, is that going to be the last sentence of the show? Who wants to eat garmonbosia? Well, they might end it with, I don't know what my prediction would be. Maybe, I guess I could envision something like, definitely music, wind, and I have this vision of somebody maybe sitting again in the Black Lodge, like seated. A couple of characters that we would never expect. I don't know. Eduardo says, please not a laughing Cooper again. No, I don't think that's gonna... I mean, maybe the last scene is gonna be the return of Annie. And Annie's gonna be like, to answer all of y'all's question, how's Annie? Annie's fine, just fine. And then she gives a smirk, crazy Bob smirk, and that's the end. I don't know. I really have no clue. Maybe, I mean, if they give us a really lame ending, it's going to be like we see another one of the eggs of the mother hatch and another frog moth exit and kind of go towards some other young person. But that would be a predictable end. That's like how a lot of horror movies end. I don't know. Christopher says they should have just made it a movie. Maybe that way I wouldn't get stressed about it. But it is a movie. Lynch did state that it's an 18-hour movie. It's intended to be seen as like an 18-hour one piece. So once all the 18 parts are out, you can actually watch it 18 hours straight through. And it will give you the vibe of a movie. It's like a hybrid between the movie Fire Walk With Me and the TV show Twin Peaks Season 1 and 2. Put those two together and you get Twin Peaks Season 3. Tarale says, I have faith we are in for an amazing ending next week. Well, let's end it on that, guys. I hope so too. I am very optimistic about it, and I'm very grateful either way for this incredible ride and journey that David put us on together with Mark Frost and Showtime and all the actors that have committed so well to it. The casting was incredible. It's all been amazing, and I'm going to definitely get my little bottle of champagne for next week. We're going to drink together. We're going to cry together. We're going to laugh together. It is what it is. So thank you so much for tuning in. Nick says, remember, the owls are not what they seem. Eduardo says, don't go. Well, we got to end it. It's getting really long. Debbie says, we were just lucky to get this series. We were so lucky to get this series. Nick says, see ya, Dacob. See ya, Nick. Melinda wants Moet and Shandong. Yes, of course. T says, thank you again for the live stream. Love chatting with you guys. Love chatting with you guys too. Thanks everybody to Debbie for being our incredible protector of the realm of the Purple Room. Invisible Girl 422 has been our moderator tonight. She has been keeping the Purple Room clean from doppelgangers. So big shout out to Debbie. We all love you very much. Thank you for helping out and always being our watchful good spirit. Our, as I always say, to quote the Golden Girls, Sicilian gecko. Sophia Petrillo is a little Sicilian gecko. Charlatan says, you don't even know the old Twin Peaks. Oh, yes, I do. I watched it back in the 90s. Debbie's laughing. Melinda says, love you, Debbie. Eduardo loves the Invisible Girl. We all love Debbie. Love you all, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. You could, check out my channel for other videos, Twin Peaks related, not just these live chats or reviews on the episodes. I have been doing Twin Peaks videos since I started this channel way back then. Way back when I started the channel, 2014, something like that. So, and the scariest thing, Melinda told me a couple of days ago, she reminded me because she was watching my old videos and she says, Dacob, already back in 2014, you predicted the purple world. And I was like, oh my God, I rewatched the video and I was like, ha! There you have it. And yeah, you should watch that video. It's a really old video where, like I mentioned, the mauve or purple world, and bam, Lynch delivered on that. So he is watching more than one thinks. Thank you guys so much for that. The owls are not what they seem. And I shall see you all next week. I love you very much. Take care, everybody. Bye.